They told the black woman, "We don't serve you." Minutes later, everything changed. A hostess stands behind the podium, holding a torn paper like a trophy. She rips the name off the reservation and drops the pieces into the trash, as if erasing a person. The dining room freezes. Silverware clinks stop mid-air. Phones lift like flags. Close on the paper, jagged edges, the ink still wet where Maya Lawson's name had been printed. Colton Reeves, assistant manager, leans forward with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. His voice is clear in the hush. This isn't the place for people like her. Not loud enough to be private, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few people laugh, a few look away. Someone at the bar already hits record. Maya stands straight. She has a reservation in her hand, a silk scarf around her neck, and a history that doesn't need announcing. She breathes in the room's tension like a gust and lets it pass through her without breaking. Her face is composed. Her hands are quiet. The hostess shoves the torn paper toward Maya. Harper Dunn, the general manager, appears at the pass with a clipboard in that same practiced arrogance. "We have standards," Harper says, cataloging Maya as a problem to be managed. A security guard shifts his weight and glances at the exit. There's a hum of judgment in the air, the collective small cruelties that live in dining rooms and lobbies and porches. Someone mutters, someone else snaps photos, a half plate is abandoned on a table. Maya's friends, the two who'd arranged the reservation, exchange looks of helpless fury. But Maya does not shout. She does not storm. She taps her phone. If this scene hits you, share it or leave your voice in the comments. People need to see how quickly dignity can be dismissed. The taunts stretch. Colton circles like a shark, adding details that make the humiliation a show. "We don't cater to," he starts, and lets the rest hang in the air like a verdict. Harper mentions policies and exclusivity like armor. One of the diners, emboldened by distance, says it outright, "You don't belong here." A woman in a red dress wipes her eyes, and a man 2 tables over turns his phone to point it at Maya, as if the camera can make truth out of a lie. Maya's jaw tightens, but her answer is a silence that says more than any retort could. She looks at the torn reservation in the hostess's hand. The hostess's fingers are trembling, not with regret, but with the adrenaline of being part of a moment. Around them, the restaurant's warm lights make everything read as theater. She taps her phone again and types a name they don't expect. The gesture is small, a thumb on glass, but it changes the angle of the whole room. Phones stop recording the petty cruelty and start recording the question, who is she calling? The front door opens. A woman in a navy suit steps in with 2 officers behind her and a thin leather folder under her arm. She doesn't hurry, because urgency belongs to those who lose control. She knows how to arrive like authority. She sets the folder on the podium and opens it with a measured hand. On the top sheet, in a clean header, is the name of a company that matches Maya's, Lawson Hospitality Group. The words "transfer of ownership" appear in bold. It's not a rumor. It's a packet of law and signature and a stack of proof that does what speaking could not. It changes the ledger that matters to these people. Who owns this place? For a beat, no one moves. Then Harper's confident smile cracks. Colton's posture falters. The hostess drops the scrap of paper as if it's suddenly heavier than it was before. The officers remain motionless. One of them glances at the folder and then at Harper with a face that says, "We'll wait." The attorney, legal, precise, not theatrical, says, "Miss Lawson has executed a transfer. Effective immediately, her company assumes operational control." Her words land like gavel knocks. The dining room noise rushes back in, but displaced, like a tide that's been turned. Now the ownership is plain, and power moves faster than indignation. Maya does what owners do. She asserts standards of her own. She points at Harper. "You're relieved," she says, voice steady, not triumphant. Colton's name follows. The hostess is gently but firmly led away. The complicit security guard is shown the door. Marcus, the guard who had kept his composure and whose quiet courtesy had been a small refuge, is asked to step up as interim floor manager. There is no spectacle of revenge. There are instead decisions. Staff changes, a clear demand for courtesy, a request that the broken reservation be placed back on the podium. Maya takes the torn sliver of paper from where it lies on the floor. She smooths it with a practiced calm, sets it on the podium, and orders to be seated. The words are simple and final. "Bring our table." The room exhales. Those who recorded earlier lower their phones in confusion, or suddenly in respect. The murmurs begin to tilt, from judgment to curiosity, from scorn to applause. A few people clap. The sound starts small and then grows until the space feels less like a stage of humiliation and more like a small auditorium for someone who reclaimed her place. Maya walks past the replaced staff. She does not gloat. She walks with a restraint that makes the point. Authority need not be loud to be undeniable. She sits. A waiter sets a napkin. A new manager checks the reservation list with a practiced professionalism. The table is prepared. The reservation is honored. Outside, phones post fragments, a shaky video, a comment thread that grows, a headline that will come later in feeds and timelines. Not the definitive judgment of public opinion, but a viral moment that carries a lesson. The footage cuts between two moments. The hostess's fingers tearing paper, and the same hostess's hand tucked in hers as she leaves with a look of humbled shame. The caption under the clip is not triumphant, it's factual. A woman was refused service. She returned as owner. Maya's closing line is quiet, meant for the room and for anyone who assumed exclusion would stand forever. "You told me there was no place for me here," she says. "Now it's my place to run. Make sure it's one where people are seen." She does not thunder. She sets the tone by example, expectation of courtesy, clear consequences for disrespect, and a public reminder that dignity cannot be torn apart and tossed away like a scrap. The aftermath spreads. People debate in the comments whether this is the remedy for every wrong, whether one reversal undoes years of exclusion. The answer is complex, and Maya never claimed a universal victory. This was one moment, a sharp correction where ownership met accountability, and it illuminates the truth that economic agency can be a way to demand respect in spaces where it was withheld. What remains is the image, a ripped reservation becoming a neat place card on a table now held under new standards. There's a lesson not in spectacle, but in the quiet demonstration of power, calm, prepared, and decisive. Bystanders who watched live were forced to adjust their narrative. The restaurant, once a place of exclusion for that moment, must now answer to a new standard. If this resonates with you, tell someone who needs to hear it. Like, share, and tell us in the comments, what would you have done in her place?